Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're going to dig into a really cool idea, the football architect. And we're going to look at one person in particular, Xavi Hernández, who, basically defines the whole concept. So how can a football player be an architect? I mean, it's a great question, right? When you hear architect, you're probably picturing someone designing buildings, drawing up blueprints. But in football, well, it means something completely different, something way more strategic. Okay, so here's the deal. A football architect, they're the mastermind, the brains behind how a team actually plays. They're the ones building out the whole tactical philosophy, the strategic framework. It's not about just being physically gifted. It's about being the one who designs the success. Right, so to really get a handle on Xavi's whole legacy, we've got to rewind. Let's go back to his legendary career as a player, because that's where he first started building the game right from the center of the pitch. For almost 20 years, Xavi was the absolute heart of Barcelona's midfield. But things really kicked into high gear in 2008. Under Pep Guardiola, he wasn't just another player on the team, no. He became the operational center, the fulcrum that everything else pivoted around. He was the guy. And here's what's so incredible about him. His genius? It wasn't about being the fastest or the strongest guy out there. Not at all. It was all in his head. His vision was just on another level. He could see plays developing like 3-4 moves ahead of anyone else. And his passing? Wow. It wasn't just about getting the ball from point A to point B. He used his pinpoint passes to literally move the entire other team around, to create space out of thin air. He was a master of what they call the pausa, that little hesitation, that split-second pause that just completely controlled the tempo of the game and put the entire pitch under his spell. So, you see, he wasn't just some cog in the machine. He was the machine. He was the system. That legendary tiki-taka style, the possession-based game that took over world football, that was literally, and I mean literally, built around his specific, unique set of skills. But his story as an architect was far from over, because of course he would eventually come back to Barcelona. Only this time he wasn't on the pitch, he was on the sideline as the master designer himself. And let me tell you, when he came back as manager, the club he found was in an absolute crisis. They were struggling on the field, for sure, but worse than that, they had lost their identity. They didn't know who they were anymore. So what did he do? He immediately got to work, laying down his architectural blueprint for complete and total rebuild. He brought back those non-negotiables, possession, positional play, high pressing, all the things that made him who he was as a player. So did it work? Oh yeah, the results were immediate. In the 2022-23 season, his completely revitalized team went on to win the La Liga title. And get this, they racked up a massive 88 points. So yeah, his design didn't just work on paper, it delivered big time. But it was about more than just one trophy, It's like his fellow legend, Thierry Henry, said, Xavi didn't just come in and win something. No, he laid down a whole new foundation. He brought in new players, and he put in place the structural guidelines for the club to succeed for years to come. Okay, so let's zoom out a bit. When you look at his entire career, both as a player and a manager, what does this architectural legacy of his actually look like? Well, you can really see this amazing evolution, right? As a player, he was the master craftsman, the guy on the pitch executing the blueprint perfectly. But then, as a manager, his role expanded. He became the guy who was designing the entire structure, creating the whole philosophy of the club from the very top. So, when you boil it all down, Xavi's entire career has been this incredible masterclass in construction. He built a very specific, very successful, and honestly, a beautiful way of playing football. First, he did it as the key guy on the field, and then he did it as the master designer from the sideline. And all of this leaves us with one final big question to chew on. Think about it. In a sport like football, with so many moving parts, so many incredible athletes and global superstars, is it possible that the true visionary, the architect, the one who designs the whole system, is actually the single most valuable asset any team could ever have? Something to think about.